What's up, everybody? It's Greg Birch with Delta Financial, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life, in your business, with sales, leadership, marketing, and mindset. Everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And today I have a very special episode for you. This is obviously going to be a mindset talk or a coaching talk for me. The topic that I want to talk about today is a topic about doing the reps. And there was a quote I heard. It's the magic that you're looking for is the work you're attempting to avoid. And this quote is this is a powerful quote. And it really just surmises what it's like to be an entrepreneur, because there's all these things that we know that we have to do that we're trying to avoid doing them. And so I'm gonna tell you a story about how I learned this the hard way. Hopefully it inspires some of you to do the work and to avoid doing this yourself. So when I first started in insurance, I was not good. I was terrible, actually. Like most people starting an entrepreneurial position or being 1099 self-employed. And, I was always told over and over again by multiple people that were top producers. I was always told, like, you had to do the work, you had to do the reps, you have to get on the phone. Like, all the money's made on the phone, because the phone is where you are scheduling your appointments and getting more clients to get in front of. Once you're in front of a client, selling the product or service that you're having typically is not that difficult, right? It's really getting in front of them and getting their time. That's the hardest piece, the prospecting piece. And if you can schedule enough appointments where you get in front of enough people, you will make sales. As long as you have a good product, you care about people, and you want to put them in the best position, and you believe in your product, okay? You believe in your product or service. So if you would buy it, then it's easier for you to sell it because you yourself would buy it as well. And if you haven't read Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, that's one of the concepts that he discusses. So when I first started, like everyone else, the phones were my enemy. I mean, that phone was just heavy. It was heavy to pick up and start dialing. I made every excuse in the world to not get on the phone, right? I would actually buy leads, and then I would barely dial them. Like, I would dial them one time and then be like, oh, no one's answering. They suck. And I would make excuses instead of just doing the reps and keep calling and getting my teeth kicked in on the phone and getting better through that process. And what people don't realize is that to get change, to become better, you have to go through pain. You have to either a physical, a mental, or emotional pain. It's going to happen. You cannot avoid it. There's no way around it. There's no way over it. There's no way under it. There's no way to get to the level of success without going through it, right? So I avoided the phones. And this is actually pretty common. I know it's common because I see it all the time within the industry with other agents. It's avoiding the phones because you don't want to do it. It's kind of boring. It's monkey work. And at the same time, you have all this fear. Like, what if someone curses me out? What if they don't want to meet with me? What if this doesn't work out? So you have these fears that just, they grow and they evolve, and they prevent you from doing the right actions. They prevent you from actually getting the leads and just getting to work. Because I can promise you, if you're buying leads consistently every single week, what's going to happen is you're going to get to work, right? And also you also do the work. You're going to have success. You're going to make sales. And then you just continue to iterate on that process. You imitate other people, and then you iterate over time once you've imitated to mastery. So I was avoiding the phones. And I was looking I'd heard other people that had dialers that they paid for, right? I was looking for a dialer myself. And I hired somebody to do my dialing for me. That was it was a US based company, because there's a lot of people that get dialers that are out of the country, like in the Philippines, stuff like that. And I hired a dialer that was in the States. And when you haven't done the reps and you haven't mastered it, you don't know how to teach it. You don't know how to teach the specific little tiny nuances that you know that you need or want in order to lock down a really solid appointment. So what happened was I ended up wasting money because they set appointments, but they weren't good appointments. They did not lock them down or tie them down. They didn't build any kind of rapport with their client. And it took me weeks of paying for these appointments, of being like, oh, well, they set me 20 appointments this week. And then 5 showed. And out of those 5, they were not good appointments. And I finally realized that, like, I could just do this myself, not waste this money. It's going to take more time, but I can do it myself. And when I removed that company, that dialing company, and that dialer, and I started dialing myself, I went through, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks of really getting my teeth kicked in, and really having struggles on the phone. But with every single struggle that I overcame, I got better. I got a little bit better. And it's kind of, I heard a quote today on the podcast, which was, what happens with a boxer when they get punched in the face? Well, when they see that same punch coming, they know how to dodge it and avoid it, right? And you just have to go through the reps. You have to do the work. There is no other way around it. And as I got my teeth kicked in, I learned little tiny nuances that customers or clients were doing on the phone, and I learned how to get past them. And I started to get really good on the phone, to where I enjoyed it, to where I made a game of it. And I started to see not the emotional side, but the logical side, just the numbers. And I started to realize what my numbers were, and tracking my numbers and saying, well, it's only going to take me X amount of dials before I set an appointment. And I only have to set X amount of appointments to be able to make, X amount of sales. And my average sale is XYZ. So if I do this amount of dials, it's going to equal this much pay. It's going to end up. Now, it took time for me to do that. It did not happen in a week. It didn't happen in 2 weeks. It didn't happen in just 1 month. It was consistent work of getting on the phones and getting used to it. And over time, what happened is that I just got better. I naturally got better because I got used to the reps. If you go to the gym, if you don't go to the gym, you don't work out. The first time you go to the gym, it sucks. Your body's sore. The first week, your body's real sore. The second week, your body's real sore again too. Third week, it's still sore, but not as sore, but you can't tell the slight differences. Like your muscles are starting to grow. And the more you push yourself and you keep going, eventually that soreness goes away. Like, for anyone that's very consistent in the gym, you barely get sore anymore, especially if you're doing the same workout over and over again, right? The soreness goes away, and it's there, but it's imperceptible, right? And the only time that you get sore again is when you do a completely different workout that you're not used to, because you're using your muscles in ways that it's not adjusted to, and you kind of welcome it. You're like, yeah, I feel like I'm actually growing again. And through that pain comes growth, and you realize that concept. Through pain comes growth. What I want to impart upon to every single entrepreneur, especially insurance agents, is the money's made on the phone. And I know you're avoiding it. And if you stop avoiding it and you just do the reps, you're going to get better. You're going to get better communicating. You're going to get better at overcoming objections. You're going to get better at setting good appointments, like locked down good appointments. And when you've built a relationship or rapport on the phone with setting a good appointment, what's going to happen is that your appointments are better and you'll sell more. You'll start to set more appointments with the amount of calls, where it's like, hey, you first start off, you might have 10 people answer, but only set 2 appointments out of the 10. As you do it, that 2 will turn to 3. That 3 will turn to 5. That 5 will turn to 8, because you'll get so used to having these conversations and understanding the ins and outs conversationally of how to weave yourself and almost be like water, and harmoniously like ebb and flow through the conversation so that you can set the appointment. You cannot get there without doing the work, without doing the actions. You could watch every YouTube video. You could read every book. You could go to every single seminar that's going to motivate you in order to do that. But without actually doing the work and being disciplined in your action, it's not going to happen until you get the reps in. I promise you that. And it took me a long time to realize that. And I avoided it for so long, and I wasted money, I wasted time, and I hurt my business overall. But I learned a valuable lesson. I'm glad I learned that. I'm just hoping that I can teach you this lesson without you having to go through that same pain and worry as well. Start doing the reps, start putting in the time, stop avoiding what you know needs to happen, and start working on it today. Ask yourself today, what is it that I'm avoiding that I need to do for my business? And then execute on it, and execute on it every single day. You'll build discipline. And with discipline comes confidence. With confidence, you'll get better because improved performance. And every single time you improve your performance, what you're doing is you're pushing your potential out further because you're getting experience. So what your potential is now will not be the same as your potential is a year from now with consistent action. I promise you that. All of our potentials are unknown and unlimited. The only way that you can push your potential out is by actually doing the work, getting better and gaining new skills through experience. So I hope this message resonates with you. I hope it helps you to do an internal audit and look at within yourself and say, what do I need to do today to help my business? What am I avoiding to help my business? And you act and execute on it. This has been the Be the Difference podcast. As always, if you got any value from this, if you learned anything, if it changed your perspective, I don't do any ads. I don't promote this except for by word of mouth. The best thing that you can do is share this content, put it on your stories, put it on your social media, tell another person, and get them to also be a part of this community that we're just trying to help everybody be the best version of themselves. As always, I'm Greg Birch, the host. Until next time, be the difference.